let's deep dive into the Jeffrey Epstein connections in Disney that will never sit right with me. Now, this all started with a tweet from Dom Lucre, who calls himself the breaker of narratives. He would state, "Did you know that Disney was sending kids to Epstein's Island for snorkeling trips? The Disney cruise ship stopped at Little St. James Island for day trips for years, despite Epstein's history of, well, you know what." He would also include the so-called document, and right here, actually, it is highlighted and underlined. It does mention Little St. James Island, and it does seem to be an official type of message from Disney Cruise Lines. Now, you might say that's an unsubstantiated claim and anybody can make a paper look authentic, but Disney would actually reply to some of these allegations through the Associated Press. Disney would claim the island as well as another location were included in the description of a third-party tour so that participants could identify the areas where snorkeling would be made available, a statement from Disney read. The tour had no connection to the island itself, and Disney has never had plans involving Little St. James Island. The Epstein-Disney connection becomes more apparent when you actually look into this article, which was published in February 2021. It states, and it's from Daily Mail, "Never before seen photos show Jeffrey Epstein cuddling a sleeping young girl on his lap on board his private jet after spending a day at Disney World with unsuspecting families." Now, in the article, it states the obvious, that Jeffrey Epstein has a child on board his plane after leaving a long and luxurious day at Disneyland. It does state there's no suggestion that the unidentified girl in the photograph was a victim of Epstein, although based on the history of what we know that has been going on for a very long time, I can tell you that's probably not true. It also states a source who was on the trip to Disney World tells Daily Mail of their horror at discovering the long tucked away images of Epstein at the theme park around 2004. They stated as well, it had been a long day and the girl just fell asleep in his arms. The picture is terrifying based upon what we know now, but it was entirely innocent, the source said. Yeah, that sounds like a real credible source, guys. The article would go on to state that other shocking images showed the disgraced financier dining at the resort surrounded by unsuspecting families and posing for photos with Disney characters. The insider said Epstein spared no expense for the trip to the amusement park and flew a group of 10 people, all expenses paid, including Ghislaine Maxwell, etc. Now, first and foremost, I think it's very important to note the fact that Disney's statement regarding Little St. James Island, they didn't exactly deny that they were associated with it. They simply stated that they pointed out as a place that people could go snorkeling if they wanted to. But I'm here to tell you that a cruise line is not going to offer a certain place for snorkeling unless they have some type of business deal with them, for one. Secondly, in the Daily Mail article, they are acknowledging that Jeffrey Epstein spent the day at Disney and afterwards was seen pictured with a young girl aboard his private jet, and we can only, unfortunately, imagine the horrors that occurred afterwards. This combined with recent photos of Ghislaine Maxwell, where it looks like she may have been working for Disney at some point in time, although I can't confirm that, are extremely shocking and really make you think, is there more to the Epstein connection to Disney than we'll ever know?